Have you ever stopped to think about um, the hidden complexity behind things we use every day? Like, really think about it. It's not just the final product. It's the unseen brains running the show, figuring out how, say, coffee gets brewed on a massive scale. Or, maybe more importantly, how life-saving medicines are made really, really carefully. And today, that's exactly what we're diving into, the strategic choices pharma companies make with their control systems. We're talking distributed control systems, DCS, versus programmable logic controllers, PLCs, and their sort of newer cousin, the PAC, the programmable automation controller.
Yeah, and it's a choice that honestly goes way beyond just the tech specs. It hits everything: cost, compliance, how you'll manufacture things down the road.
Right. So our mission today for you is to cut through that jargon. We want to unpack the sort of core ideas behind these systems, what they actually mean in the real world.
There.
And why this choice, which sounds super technical, is actually a huge strategic decision for a pharma company.
Mm-hmm. We'll look at where they came from, how they're starting to, well, blur a bit in what they can do, and why, as our sources show, there's no single best answer. It really depends.
Definitely. We've looked at strategic papers, deep technical guides, real-world applications.
Yeah.
Trying to give you a full picture, but, keep it manageable. Okay, let's get into it.
It's fascinating, really, how these systems, which are just like fundamental now, grew out of completely different problems. To really get the picture today, you kind of have to look back. Before PLCs, industrial control was, wow, it was a mess.
A mess how?
Imagine these huge room-sized panels just packed with electromechanical relays, wires everywhere.
Wow.
Trying to find a fault in that. They used to say 5 hours to find it, 5 minutes to fix it. Incredibly rigid, super expensive to change anything.
For hours just to find it. That sounds... Yeah, less like manufacturing, more like some kind of electrical detective work. So what broke that logjam? What changed things?
That was the PLC. It was a total game changer, born out of need, really. Late 1960s automotive industry.
Ah, the car guys. Makes sense. Assembly lines.
Exactly. They were desperate for more flexibility, less downtime. Constantly retooling lines with those relay panels was killing them. So this pioneer, Richard Morley at Modicon, they often call him the father of the PLC, he designed the first programmable controller.
And the big idea was?
Replacing the wires with software, specifically ladder logic, which visually kind of looked like the old relay diagram so electricians could understand it.
Clever. Make it familiar.
Yeah. And it made the systems tough, reprogrammable, modular, perfect for those discrete step-by-step tasks on an assembly line, like, things manufacturing.
Okay, swapping wires for code. That's
Yeah.
huge for speed, for changes.
Got it.
So PLCs handled things. What about the stuff? The liquids, chemicals flowing through pipes and tanks.
Right. That's where the DCS comes in, the distributed control system. It grew out of the needs of those big continuous process industries. Think chemical plants, refineries, power generation, also starting around the 60s.
So a different set of problems.
Totally different. At first, they tried something called direct digital control, DDC, one big central computer running everything.
Ooh, I could see the problem there already. Single point of failure.
Exactly. If that one computer went down, the whole plant went down. And if you're making something hazardous, well, that's catastrophic.
Yeah, not ideal.
So the real breakthrough came in the 70s. Companies like Honeywell, Yokogawa, they figured out how to distribute the control. They put smaller, autonomous microprocessor controllers out near the equipment, each handling its own area.
Ah, spreading the risk.
Right. All connected back to a central control room. But the control itself was spread out. This architecture could handle thousands of inputs and outputs, complex loops, and crucially, it prioritized extreme reliability and having that big picture view of the whole plant, especially important for high-value stuff or dangerous materials.
Okay, so we've got their origins sorted. PLC from automotive, needing flexibility for discrete tasks. DCS from process industries, needing reliability for continuous operations. But tech marches on, doesn't it? How have these evolved? And what about this PAC thing? Let's clarify the terms we're using today.
Good idea. So a PLC at its core is that specialized, tough, industrial computer, real-time control of individual machines, discrete processes, think filling vials, capping bottles, the things manufacturing. Its strength is that fast, continuous scan cycle. Very predictable, very deterministic timing, milliseconds.
Like clockwork.
Okay.
And the PAC-C, you called it a cousin, maybe more like a souped-up PLC?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. ARC Advisory Group coined the term PAC-C back in 2001. It basically merges the PLC's toughness with the power you'd find in a PC. So more openness, it can handle multiple types of control discrete process motion all from one box.
Ah, versatile.
And it supports more advanced programming languages, not just ladder logic. Things like C++, structured text. More powerful, but needs different skills.
Okay, PLC for machines. PAC is the more powerful, flexible evolution. But the DCS, you said that's different. Not just one device. Tell me more. How's it really distinct?
Yeah, the DCS isn't a single box you buy. It's a whole system engineered from the ground up for plant-wide process orchestration. Its architecture is distributed, designed to manage that stuff, manufacturing the product flowing through vessels, pipes, reactors. And the HMI, the human-machine interface, that's absolutely central. It's the operator's window into this complex, continuous process. They're watching and controlling potentially thousands of things from one spot.
Fascinating, these parallel evolutions. But like I said, tech blurs lines. Are the capabilities really merging now? Is it getting harder to choose? I mean, a powerful PAC can do some complex process stuff today, right? And DCSs can handle fast, discrete signals too.
You're absolutely right. On a feature-by-feature level, the lines are blurring. Modern PACs, yeah, they can handle complex process control. Some vendors even market them as a modern DCS. And conversely, modern DCSs, they've definitely added capabilities for high-speed I/O.
So it's all the same now.
Ah, see, that's the trap. That blurring lines idea, it can be a bit of a strategic oversimplification because the fundamental architectural philosophy, and maybe even more importantly, how they are delivered, that remains fundamentally different.
Okay, hang on. Not just what they do, but how they're built and sold. That sounds like it has big implications down the line.
Massive implications. Think about it. A DCS comes as a single pre-integrated product from one vendor. The controllers, the HMI software, the historian for logging data, alarm handling, batch software, it's all engineered to work together seamlessly as one system. The end user mostly configures it for their specific process.
Right, like setting options in a very complex software suite.
Sort of. Now, contrast that with PLC PAC. If you want similarly plant-wide functionality, it's usually an integration project. You're buying a PAC from vendor A, HMI SCADA software from vendor B, maybe a historian database from vendor C, a batch engine from vendor D.
Okay, I see where this is going. Lots of different pieces.
Exactly. And then your team, or maybe a system integrator you hire, has to program and integrate all those pieces, make them talk to each other, often using middleware like OPC servers, which act as translators.
That delivery model difference. Wow. That completely changes the game. It's not just picking a box, it's picking an entire approach, an engineering philosophy. Okay, let's dig into those technical differences that still matter despite the feature blur, starting with that core architecture. Centralized versus distributed.
Okay, so PLC PAC systems, typically centralized. One controller is the brain, doing the logic, handling the I/O. It's simple, cost-effective for smaller tasks, very fast locally. But scale it up. That central controller becomes your single point of failure.
Right. If it hiccups, everything it controls stops dead.
And it can become a performance bottleneck if it's trying to do too much.
That sounds like a huge risk in pharma, especially with high-value batches. How does the DCS avoid that?
Because it's inherently decentralized or distributed. Control logic is spread across many autonomous controllers, each handling its own part of the plant. They're all linked on high-speed networks, usually redundant networks.
So if one controller fails?
It only affects its local area. The rest of the plant keeps running. That avoidance of a single point of failure for the whole process, it's baked into the DCS design. Absolutely vital for continuous ops.
That built-in robustness sounds amazing for high-stakes pharma. Does it add complexity elsewhere? Like, how do they scale? Can you just bolt on more bits to either system?
Well, both are modular, but they scale differently. A PLC PAC system, you scale it by adding things. More modules, more controllers network together. But when you get to a really large plant-wide system, managing all the communication and data sharing between potentially hundreds of controllers gets complex. A real engineering headache.
Right. Keeping everything talking smoothly.
Whereas a DCS, it's designed for scalability right from the start. Adding new components like a whole new bioreactor skid or even a full process train. It's designed to be seamless. They slot into the network. There's built-in load balancing. You manage it all centrally. It's scaling by design, which is a huge deal for pharma companies needing to expand. Less re-engineering effort.
Okay. That naturally leads us to reliability, redundancy, uptime. which got to be top of the list in pharma, right?
Yeah.
How do they stack up there?
Oh, absolutely critical difference, tied directly to risk. With PLC packs, redundancy is usually an option, an add-on.
Like buying extra insurance.
Kind of. You can get dual controllers, redundant power supplies,
Yeah.
but it's often focused just at that controller level. With a DCS, redundancy is a core design principle. It's multi-layered, baked in deep.
How so? What layers?
You get controller redundancy, often with bumpless transfer, meaning if the main one fails, the backup takes over so smoothly the process doesn't even hiccup.
No interruption at all.
Ideally, none perceivable in the process. Then you've got network redundancy, dual cables, often run different routes. I/O redundancy, critical sensors might be wired to 2 different input cards. Even server redundancy for things like the historian database.
That sounds comprehensive.
It is. It's designed for maximum uptime.
Which brings up a really important point. What's the actual financial value of, say, one batch of a modern cancer drug? Millions, potentially.
Easily. Millions of dollars for a single batch is quite common for biologics or advanced therapies.
So if a non-redundant part fails in a PLC system running that process, you could lose the whole multi-million-dollar batch.
Potentially, yes, a catastrophic loss. And that's why, for these super high-value, sensitive processes, the built-in holistic redundancy of a DCS, it isn't a luxury. You have to think of it as an essential insurance policy.
Wow. Okay, so the takeaway isn't just about avoiding glitches. It's that for the really valuable stuff, a DCS isn't just control. It's like catastrophe insurance for your most critical assets. That completely reframes the cost discussion, doesn't it?
It absolutely has to. Now, related to that, let's talk data. Pharma runs on data. Compliance, optimization, batch records. How do these systems handle data management? Historization, logging all that process history.
Right, the data trail. Crucial.
Okay, a PLC pack. Its main job is control. Fast control. Data logging isn't really its primary function. They usually have limited built-in logging, so you rely on external software, SCADA systems, separate historian databases. And you need that middleware, like OPC, to get the data out of the PLC and into the historian.
So data is kind of an add-on layer for PLCs.
Generally, yes. Now, a DCS. It's built around data. A high-performance data historian is a core native part of the system, not an afterthought. You get a single, unified platform for all the plant data. Advanced compression to store years of history efficiently, built-in tools for charting trends, analyzing alarms, and a really key thing. It typically uses a single global tag database.
What does that mean practically?
It means a specific temperature sensor, for instance, has the same name, the same definition, everywhere in the system, in the controller logic, on the operator screen, in the historian. It massively simplifies engineering and guarantees data consistency. No translation errors.
That unified database.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see how that saves time and headaches. Big efficiency win. Okay, what about raw speed? Performance, response time? Is one just faster?
PLCs and packs are definitely known for raw speed. Exceptionally fast, deterministic processing. We're talking milliseconds, sometimes even microseconds.
And where do you need that kind of speed?
High-speed, discrete stuff, packaging lines, robotics, where you need incredibly precise, repeatable timing for individual actions, over and over. A DCS is also real-time, make no mistake, but it generally operates on a slightly slower cycle. Maybe 100 milliseconds is typical.
Still fast, but not microsecond fast.
Right. Its strength isn't that absolute top speed. It's stable, reliable, repeatable control over long periods for those complex, often slower-moving continuous and batch processes. Think maintaining temperature in a huge reactor perfectly for 12 hours.
Got it. Different kinds of speed for different kinds of jobs. Okay, last technical bit. How do you actually make these things work? The programming, the setup, keeping them running, maintenance.
Yeah, the how-tos. And again, a philosophical difference here. PLCs. Traditionally ladder logic. Very visual, intuitive for electricians familiar with relay wiring. PACs open that up to more advanced text-based languages like C++E structured text. More power, but needs software engineering skills. The whole approach is programming a specific controller to do specific tasks.
Okay, programming the device. In DCS.
The DCS philosophy is more about configuring a process control system. You're not usually writing lines of code in the same way. Engineers typically work with pre-built, pre-engineered, often validated function blocks, like a block for a PID loop controller or a valve control block. You link these blocks together graphically on screen to represent your process flow.
So more like building with smart Lego bricks.
That's actually a pretty good analogy. It enforces standardization, which can reduce errors and speed up projects, but it often requires specialized training on that specific vendor's DCS platform. You learn their way of doing things.
Vendor-specific skills.
Yeah.
And maintenance.
System-wide maintenance on a DCS can be simpler because you're managing one integrated platform from a central engineering station. Upgrades, backups, diagnostics, it's all designed to be managed cohesively. With a PLC pack integrated system, you might be managing updates and licenses for several different software packages from different vendors.
Okay, this is super helpful. It really feels like it's not an either question, is it? It's much more about where does each system really make the most sense. Let's map this out across the pharma value chain. Where do you typically see each one deployed?
Exactly. It's about the right tool for the job, depending on the specific unit operation. Let's start upstream biologics, chemical synthesis. For, say, lag-scale or pilot-scale bioreactors, you'll often find PLC packs paired with SCADA software.
Right there.
Cost-effective for those smaller, standalone units. They handle the basic parameter, control temperature, pH, agitation just fine for that scale, where maybe integration isn't the biggest driver yet.
Okay. But when you scale up, big bioreactors, full chemical API synthesis plants, I'm guessing that's DCS territory.
Absolutely. Large-scale biomanufacturing, chemical API production. DCS is generally preferred. It's built to orchestrate those complex, integrated process trains. Think about managing intricate sequences, media prep, sterilization cycles, feeding strategies, coordinating dozens of interdependent variables like temperature, pressure, flow rates, dissolved oxygen, all critical for maximizing yield and ensuring purity. That's the DCS sweet spot.
Yeah, that plant-wide orchestration, handling all those interacting parts.
Yeah.
Sounds like a natural fit. Okay, what about downstream? Formulation, batch processing. Especially if you're making multiple products in the same equipment, using that ISA 88 batch standard.
ISA 88, this is a huge differentiator. DCS platforms, they're basically designed around the ISA 88 standard. It's in their DNA.
What does that mean practically for the user?
It means they come with sophisticated, native tools built right in for flexible recipe management, defining phases, operations, procedures, handling equipment arbitration, figuring out which batch gets the shared cleaning skid next, for example. And, critically, they often excel at automatically generating comprehensive electronic batch records, EBRs, pulling all the process data, operator actions, material info together seamlessly. That's incredibly valuable, especially in multi-product facilities with lots of changeovers and heavy documentation needs.
Okay, native ISA 88, automatic EBRs. Sounds powerful. How does the PLC pack world handle complex batching? Can it?
It can do simple batching, like if you make one product, same recipe, same sequence every time. A PLC can be programmed for that, but complex, flexible batching like you see in multi-product pharma, on a PLC pack, that usually means significant, expensive custom programming. Or, more commonly, you layer other software on top of manufacturing execution system, MES, or a dedicated batch engine software package.
So you're back to integration again.
Exactly. The complexity shifts to integrating and validating all those different interfaces between the PLC, the batch software, the historian, the HMI.
So the trade-off seems clear. DCS might cost more upfront for batching.
But it offers a more streamlined, lower-risk approach and likely a lower total life cycle cost for complex batch operations because the integration and validation effort is so much less.
That's a really key point about lifecycle cost and regulatory effort. Okay, now where do PLCs and packs just dominate? No question. I'm thinking those fast packaging lines.
Oh, absolutely. Fill, finish, packaging operations, that's classic PLC pack territory. It's all high-speed, sequential, discrete tasks.
Like washing vials, filling, stopping, capping, labeling.
Precisely. That fast, deterministic response we talked about, millisecond timing, essential there to keep the lines running at speed, ensuring every step happens exactly when it should. Quality and throughput depend on it.
But those lines don't exist in isolation, right? They feed data somewhere.
Correct. While the PLCs run the machines themselves, those packaging lines are very often integrated upwards into a plant-wide DCS, or, more likely, an MES. Why? For production scheduling, tracking OEE overall equipment effectiveness, a key metric for productivity and for consolidating the packaging data into the final electronic batch record.
Okay, so PLC for the machine speed, DCS MES for the oversight and data context.
No.
What about plant utilities? Clean water, air handling, that sort of thing. Is that a mix?
It often is, yeah. You'll frequently see PLCs controlling individual standalone utility systems that might come pre-packaged from an equipment vendor and an OEM skid, like a clean-in-place CIP system or a water for injection, WFI generator.
Makes sense for a self-contained unit.
But for managing and supervising the entire utility infrastructure of a large facility, That's often a job for the DCS. It can coordinate multiple PLC-controlled skids, manage complex WFI distribution loops, provide centralized monitoring and alarming for the whole site, and, crucially, handle the data historization for critical cleanroom parameters, temperature, humidity, differential pressures, all stuff that needs to be logged and reported for compliance.
Compliance, the elephant in every pharma room. Let's dive into that. 21 CFR Part 11, the FDA rule for electronic records and signatures. How did these systems measure up?
Yeah, you can't talk pharma automation without talking Part 11. Knowledge is great, but applying it within the rules is everything here. So Part 11 sets the bar for electronic records. They need to be trustworthy, reliable, basically equivalent to paper records. Key things are secure access controls, audit trails, secure, time-stamped records of who did what, when, and they have to be unalterable. Plus, requirements for electronic signatures uniquely linked to individuals showing the meaning of the signature, and of course, the whole system needs to be validated. Proven to work as intended.
Okay, that's the requirement. How does a DCS typically handle that? Is it built for it?
Modern DCS platforms, yes. They are generally engineered with 21 CFR Part 11 compliance as a core design requirement. It's not usually an add-on, it's baked in.
How did that show up?
You typically get a unified audit trail. Every significant action operator changes a set point, acknowledges an alarm, engineer modifies configuration. It's all logged in that single, secure, unchangeable historian we talked about. You get granular access control, managed centrally, who can log in, what screens they can see, what parameters they can change, down to a very fine level, and native electronic signature capabilities, often with built-in workflows for review and approval, securely linked to the specific record being signed.
So the big advantage is
It presents a single, cohesive system for validation. You're validating one integrated platform, which can significantly simplify that complex, time-consuming, and expensive validation process.
okay, that sounds pretty streamlined. What about the PLC pack approach? Since it's often integrated from different parts, how does compliance work there? More complex.
It generally is more complex, yes, because the PLC itself, it's not usually the system of record for compliance data, it's doing the control. The compliance features, audit trails, signatures, access control, are typically implemented at the supervisory software layer, the HMI, the SCADA system, maybe the historian or the MES.
So compliance lives in the software on top of the PLC.
Right. And that layered approach means your validation effort isn't focused on one system. It's focused on the integration of multiple systems. You have to prove that the entire data chain, from the operator action on the HMI down to the PLC, across the network into the database, is secure, reliable, and functions exactly as intended.
That sounds like a much bigger validation job.
It can be. You have more interfaces to verify, more potential points of failure or data loss to consider, and any change to one component might trigger the need for revalidation across multiple parts of that chain.
Yeah, that validation complexity seems like a major factor.
Yeah.
And it ties into ensuring data integrity across the whole plant, right? Keeping the data trustworthy from sensor to report.
Absolutely. With a DCS, having that single, unified database and integrated historian inherently minimizes data transfers between systems. Data mostly flows within one ecosystem. Fewer handoffs means fewer opportunities for data to get lost, corrupted, or accidentally changed.
Makes sense. Less moving parts for the data.
Whereas with large-scale PLC networks, you're often collecting data from many separate sources, maybe different PLC brands, different HMIs, and pulling it all together centrally. That creates numerous data handoff points. Each one is a potential vulnerability that needs careful design, robust security, and thorough validation to ensure data integrity isn't compromised along the way.
Okay, so for complex pharma, it really sounds like we're moving towards this idea of the integrated factory. And the MES, the manufacturing execution system, seems crucial in tying it all together. Tell us about that role.
Yeah, the MES is absolutely pivotal. It's the bridge. It sits between the top-level business planning, the ERP system like SAP, and the shop floor control systems, whether DCS or PLC-based. The MES manages the who, what, when, where, and why of production. Work orders, recipes, operator instructions, material tracking, resource scheduling.
It orchestrates the actual execution.
Exactly. And seamless integration between the MES and the underlying control systems. That's really the foundation of modern, efficient, paperless pharma manufacturing.
What are the big wins? What tangible benefits does that tight integration bring?
Oh, huge benefits. Number one is probably automated electronic batch records, EBRs.
Getting rid of paper batch records.
Totally. The control system automatically feeds critical process data temperatures, pressures, flows, quantities, added directly into the EBR managed by the MES. No manual transcription errors, faster data review, quicker batch release. It also streamlines workflows. The MES might download recipe parameters or set points down to the DCS or PLC before a batch starts. Then the control system sends signals back up, phase complete, material consumed. The MES uses that to prompt the next manual step for an operator, maybe weighing a raw material, and documents that step electronically.
So it guides the whole process, automated and manual steps together.
Right, and you get complete product genealogy. The MES tracks the raw material lots used, the control system tracks exactly how much was consumed in the process. It all ties together for a fully traceable, auditable record, essential for investigations or regulatory audits.
It really sounds like, for most big modern pharma plants, it's not a case of picking only DCS or only PLC anymore. This hybrid architecture seems to be the way things are going. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think de facto standard is a good way to put it for many large modern facilities. It's rarely pure DCS or pure PLC across the entire site. The optimal approach, often, is that hybrid model. A plant-wide DCS forms the backbone for the core manufacturing processes, the bioreactors, the synthesis, the main utilities, where that high reliability, complex batch management, and integrated compliance are absolutely key.
Okay, DCS for the core and the PLCs.
Then you integrate PLC or pack-controlled machines and OEM skids into that DCS MES framework. For those ancillary discrete functions, high-speed packaging lines, automated material handling systems, maybe some standalone utility skids.
So you're really getting the best of both worlds.
That's the goal. You get the robust process orchestration, the data integrity, the easier compliance of the DCS for the critical stuff, combined with the cost-effective, high-performance control of PLCs, where speed and localized control are paramount.
And thinking longer term, this whole choice of control architecture must be absolutely foundational for companies wanting to embrace, Pharma 4.0, digital transformation.
Oh, completely foundational. You can't really do Pharma 4.0, think modular production, building digital twins of your process, applying AI and machine learning for optimization without the right data infrastructure. And all those concepts depend on having seamless, standardized, context-rich data flow, getting the right data from the right place at the right time with the right context.
And the control system enables or blocks that.
Pretty much. Modern DCS platforms, or even well-designed open PAC-based systems built on standards like Ethernet IP and especially OPC UA, they provide that data backbone. When integrated tightly with an MES, they become that essential process orchestration layer that feeds clean, contextualized data up to higher-level analytics platforms or AI engines.
And the alternative, legacy systems, fragmented PLCs.
They become inhibitors, legacy proprietary DCS platforms that are hard to get data out of, or a plant full of isolated PLCs speaking different languages with no common data structure. They create data silos. Trying to implement Pharma 4.0 on top of that, it becomes incredibly difficult, expensive, maybe even impossible without a major overhaul.
So the message is, when you choose a control system today, you're not just solving today's problem.
You're laying the foundation or potentially putting up roadblocks for your ability to innovate, adapt, and compete in the future of digitized, maybe even personalized medicine. It's a long-term strategic jet.
Okay, that's a powerful point. So let's bring this towards a practical framework. If a company is facing this big decision, DCS versus PLC pack, what stands out to you as the key criteria? What questions should they absolutely be asking themselves?
Right. Moving beyond just the features list, it needs a structured look at the whole picture. First, obviously, the process nature. Is it fundamentally discrete, making things, or process-oriented, handling stuff in pipes and tanks? Is it continuous, batch, or some kind of hybrid?
Take function. Got it.
And scale and complexity. How many total I/O points are we talking? Thousands, tens of thousands. Are there complex control loops, interlock sequences? Are we automating one machine or orchestrating an entire plant?
The size of the job.
Exactly. And batch complexity. This one's huge. Are we talking simple, single, fixed recipes? Or flexible, multi-product, multi-path recipes that need that sophisticated ISA 88 structure we discussed? That's often a really strong indicator pointing towards DCS.
Good flag. What else?
The money and the risk. Product value and the cost of downtime. We touched on this. What's a lost batch actually worth in dollars? What are the consequences of an unexpected shutdown? Not just lost production, but potential safety issues. Catastrophic batch failure.
Higher value, higher risk pushes you towards
the higher reliability and redundancy typically built into a DCS. It's mitigating that financial exposure. Then, data and integration needs. Is having an integrated long-term historian essential for compliance, for process analysis, for continuous improvement? Is seamless integration with MES and ERP for paperless manufacturing a major goal?
How connected does it need to be?
Right. And of course, regulatory and compliance risk. How critical is nailing 21 CFR Part 11? What's the company's appetite for validation, effort, and cost? Are they comfortable validating one integrated system or managing the complexity of validating a multi-vendor integrated solution?
And you mentioned the future.
Yes. Long-term strategy. What's the digital transformation roadmap look like? Are there concrete plans for Pharma 4.0 initiatives, modular manufacturing, advanced analytics, digital twins? The system needs to enable that future, not hinder it.
This all seems to feed back into that total cost of ownership idea, the TCO, which, like you said, is way more than just the sticker price.
Absolutely. That upfront cost, a DCS, is almost always higher. But if you only look at that, you're missing the big picture. A proper TCO analysis looks at the entire life cycle.
Break that down for us. What's in the TCO calculation?
Okay, you've got the initial capital cost hardware, software licenses, then engineering and development cost. Remember, DCS is often more configuration, while PLC pack for complex systems can involve more programming and integration effort, which costs time and money. Then there's validation cost. As we discussed, potentially significantly higher complexity and effort for multi-vendor PLC pack solutions needing extensive integration validation. Ongoing maintenance and support software update fees, maybe specialized training or vendor support contracts. And critically, that operational risk cost. You need to try and quantify the financial impact of potential downtime or batch loss, which a more reliable, redundant system like a DCS is designed to minimize. Add all that up over, say, 10 or 15 years.
That holistic view could totally flip the decision compared to just looking at the initial purchase price.
Often it does, especially for complex, high-value processes.
Okay, let's try to crystallize this with some common scenarios. Based on everything we've discussed, what would your general recommendation be for, say, a brand new, large-scale biomanufacturing facility, a greenfield project?
For a greenfield large-scale biofacility, almost certainly a DCS-centric hybrid architecture.
Why DCS-centric?
Maximize reliability for those incredibly high-value biologic processes. Simplify the plant-wide compliance and data integrity aspects, which are paramount in biologics, and get that built-in scalability for future expansions or new products. The higher upfront investment is typically well justified by reducing that massive operational risk and improving long-term efficiency and compliance.
Okay, greenfield bio equals DCS backbone. What about the other end of the spectrum? A company just needs to add one new fast packaging line to their existing factory.
Simple, PLC or PAC, that's the classic use case. High-speed, discrete, self-contained task. It delivers the needed performance in the most cost-effective way. Using a full DCS for just one packaging line would be overkill, way too complex and expensive.
Right, tool for the job. Okay, one more. Modernizing an older, maybe legacy chemical API plant. It's been running for years. Needs an upgrade.
That one's interesting. Often, the choice there is for a modern DCS. That could be a new platform from one of the traditional DCS vendors, or it could be one of these powerful, process-focused, PAC-based systems that are marketed as DCS alternatives.
What drives the choice there?
It's often driven by TCO, trying to reduce maintenance headaches from old, unsupported systems. Also, leveraging existing skill sets if possible, and achieving a much higher level of integration than the old system allowed, maybe connecting to MES for the first time. It depends heavily on the specifics of the plant and their strategic goals.
Got it. So regardless of which path they take, DCS, PAC, hybrid, and NetFrub, what's the key piece of advice for future-proofing that investment, making sure it lasts and adapts?
Prioritize systems that are open, scalable, secure, and well-supported. That means leaning towards standard network technologies like Ethernet and embracing open data standards, especially OPC UA.
Why OPC UA?
Because it's designed for interoperability. It helps avoid getting locked into one vendor's proprietary ecosystem. It makes it much easier to integrate the control system with other systems today. And with future technologies tomorrow, cloud platforms for analytics, AML tools, industrial IoT devices, openness is key to future flexibility.
Okay, great advice. So let's try and wrap this all up. What's the big takeaway for you, the listener, from this deep dive?
I think the main thing is that this choice, DCS versus PLC pack, it's absolutely not about which technology is inherently good or bad. They're both powerful tools.
It's about fit, right?
Exactly. It's about selecting the most appropriate tool or combination of tools for a very specific set of needs. The operational needs of the process, the financial realities, and the strict regulatory requirements you face in pharmaceutical manufacturing.
And it seems like the trend, especially in larger modern facilities, is that hybrid approach.
Yeah, the most successful manufacturers often embrace that hybrid model. They strategically use each system where its core strengths really shine. DCS for the complex critical process core, PLCs for the fast, discrete tasks around the edges, all integrated together.
And making that choice successfully. It's not just about features or upfront cost.
Definitely not. A smart, sustainable investment really hinges on doing that thorough, multifaceted evaluation we talked about, looking beyond the initial price tag to understand the total lifecycle implications, engineering, validation, maintenance, risk, and future adaptability.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. As we move towards more personalized medicine, advanced therapies, maybe smaller, more targeted batches, that ability to adapt manufacturing processes quickly and flexibly is going to be absolutely critical.
Yeah, big challenge ahead.
So how will the control system decisions being made today affect how quickly and easily companies can bring new, potentially life-saving drugs to patients in the future? Something to think about. Those silent, powerful brains running behind the scenes of our medicine.